ask you, we just returned from the border. There was a group of 11 members of this committee who went to the border. That is my fourth border visit in approximately 18 months. And every time I've been to the border, Sheriff, I've heard these two statements. One is that it is the worst that the border has ever been, the conditions of the border, both for immigrants coming across the border, human traffic smuggling, drug smuggling, and also we hear that those frontline individuals, yourself, federal law enforcement, state and local officials, feel as though the federal government has abandoned them, that this is no longer a federal problem, and now has dumped this problem in the laps of you and other local officials. Let me ask you, do you share that same opinion that, one, the border is worse than it's ever been in your history of law enforcement, and then two, the feeling that the federal government has abandoned you and the men and women who serve under your command?
Absolutely. It is far, far worse than it's ever been for us. And I do share the opinion that the federal government has abandoned us. We have no line of communication outside of Arizona. And we feel they've turned their back on not only the Border Patrol agents, but they've sent a clear message to us in law enforcement. They're not interested in solving this. And every effort that states like Arizona and Texas make to try to fix this problem on their end, because the federal government is failing, they try to thwart that as well. So we do feel abandoned.
And let me ask you, Sheriff, we know that in early May, Title 42 will be ending. Title 42 under the public health emergency has been a way in which we've been able to return immigrants to their country of origin very quickly. We know that DHS's own numbers, their internal numbers, which they've shared with us and which have been shared publicly, said that they believe that as many as 14,000 immigrants a day will enter the country once Title 42 expires. My public school math, 14,000 immigrants a day at roughly 30 to 31 days, depending on what month you're looking at, 425,000 immigrants a month. Last December was the worst month we had ever had, 250,000. And so we would be looking at adding another 175,000 in addition to the 250 once Title 42 goes away, assuming that the numbers DHS has provided is correct. What would that do to your community?
Well, it will demolish our community, and it will demolish communities like Yuma, and not just mine. What happens in my backyard today will be in your front yard tomorrow, no matter what state you are in.
And explain that statement, very powerful statement. What happens in your backyard today will affect our front yards tomorrow. Explain that statement, please.
They estimate that 50% of all illegal drugs in America come through Arizona's borders, and I would say that 90% of that comes through Pinal County on the I-10 interstate or I-8 interstate on its way to Phoenix. Then it gets transported out to the other states. So when I say what happens in my backyard today will be in your front yard tomorrow, that's what I refer to. And that's not just drugs, it is also humans being trafficked for slavery.
And let me ask you this, Sheriff. We've had testified before this committee before. Secretary Mayorkas has testified on several occasions. He's told both myself and Congressman Bishop to my right that the border is secure. He's also said that in Senate hearings. He said that in interviews that he's given to the media. You there being just 50 some odd miles from the southwest border, do you agree with that assessment? Do you agree with Secretary Mayorkas that the border is secure?
I'd like to preface this first by saying I tragically lost my son and my granddaughter in December in a car accident. I got a handwritten note from Secretary Mayorkas, which touched my heart deeply, but I do not agree with his sentiment that the border is secure. It is not secure. It has never been more unsecure.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.